Let's get started. 6 p.m. I'm here, Tom's here, Meg's here, Bart's here, Charles is here, Ricky's here. All right, anything for public comment this evening?
No.
Welcome back.
Thank you.
Just a couple of quick things. I had an opportunity to meet the new CEO and president of TDC. He'll be starting around April 1st. Dave Champagne. Good conversation. Look forward to having him in that role and having an ongoing relationship with TDC. So I would anticipate the board and he will have opportunities to interface over the course of the weeks and months and many years to come. So, but he said that he looks forward to working with the town, so which was a positive interaction. My big thing is, did I leave it? I think I just left it in the other room. Give me 30 seconds. I took some notes down from Connie.
That's an oops. Meg, you're not going to Florida? Or have you been?
What do you mean?
To see, don't you usually go every winter?
We went in January.
Oh, excuse me for breathing. I thought maybe you'd go again. This is when you should be going.
You are?
Is he going? You're going?
Again, we went in January, but I'm going again.
See, some people have all the luck, right?
Okay. So,
Well, we went.
sorry.
I'm not going to sign it.
Really, the bigger thing that I wanted to touch upon is there's been little pieces that I've talked about how obviously many members in our community have had an ongoing concern about the mausoleum, dating back to the original beginning of this situation. And the state of New York stepped up, appointed a receiver, and I think it's really important to note that the receivership process is the one that's in complete control of this process. We have been advised and we have been told that we have no jurisdiction in the sense of once we step into the situation, we'll have the ownership of it. And we've been pushing back to make sure that we get the appropriate allocation of resources and support to make sure that the state of New York goes good on some things that they should have done originally. A lot of people have seen some of the photos. I'm just going to pass a couple of them around.
Is the roof fixed now?
So the facility went through a significant the facility went through a significant rehab. And the facility, and that's its current state. Okay, that's its current state.
After construction. After
reconstruction, yes. And so I talked with Connie Goddard, who's the receiver. We had a good, healthy conversation. She's extremely frustrated. She acknowledged that there obviously, as you can see in the photos, water on the floor, that there is going to have to be some additional site work that needs going to be done in the spring. And it wasn't closed out, remember? Because as I said before, that they had pushed the receivership to approximately June. So there were some things that needed to be completed, and that they were going to have to reevaluate things like the sidewalk, possibly putting an outside water channel. I apologize, my handwriting is like a hen scratch here as we were chatting. Some of the paint also. One of the things that she acknowledged in this conversation was these facilities don't have heat, okay? And with the marble face, they're always going to be cold. And as we continue to move through this process, before we do the exchange, she is likely going to make several recommendations on how to facilitate this to the best that we can as a municipality. Again, this is not a traditional cemetery, so there may be some recommendations on changing hours of operation and things like it. She's saying this kind of very generically right now, and I think it needs to be understood that way, because there's not too many people out there that are mausoleum directors, you know, and facilitating that. But we have engaged Dave Fleming, we have engaged Connie, she's engaged the partners at the state of New York, so they're aware of it. Many of these items, like the paint for instance, are under warranty. So we go back to that and we start going down that punch list, having some conversations with the contractors, etc. You know, I think it's...
We have contact with the contractors, and are we...
She is the one that's facilitating that. You know, in the conversation that I had with her, I don't want to put words in her mouth, but my general assessment is, yes, it's very frustrating. Progress has been made, but not to be too quick to jump and finger wag at the situation, because there's an acknowledgement that things need to be fixed. And at least there is a process by which they're going to be fixed. And, you know, thankfully the receivership didn't end and it just be passed to the town to then say, now you figure it out.
How exactly, when the receivership ends, is it passed to the town?
That is still up for negotiation,
Okay.
Honestly. And that's why, right from the get-go, it's been made, I believe, very clear, and Jason Dezan, who's the supervisor in Ellenberg, I think would also agree, that we will not be issuing a certificate of occupancy, in the sense that our codes folks will not be certifying that building because it is work done by the state. We don't typically go into state projects and do that process. They're kind of their own animal. Mm-hmm. So that if they've not met their own standards and it continues, that it will give us leverage to have continued conversations about addressing any future issues.
And
see what I mean?
I get that. That kind of partly answers what was going to be my next question, which would be, should we, could we, would we engage with an engineer to potentially take a look at the building before we took over ownership, to say, yes, this work was done properly, no, the work was not done properly, this is what should be done before you take control of it.
So ultimately, we've been told, when the state in their infinite wisdom is done with the receivership, we will get it. Whether we want it or not, the state statute will lean to us.
Regardless of whether we push back or not. Okay.
But it's a matter of working within some parameters that the state is negotiating with us right now, mm-hmm. to do the moral and ethical thing for the folks that have loved ones there, protect taxpayers, look at the future moving forward. But there's ongoing conversations that are occurring. I mean, the one benefit that I'm, I don't know how to categorize it, to be quite frank, is that Connie has been involved with this, and even in hard times has said, I'm sticking with this until this is complete. And her experience, having run a very large cemetery system, she's now a coroner. There's an area of expertise here, mm-hmm. as well as an advocate. She's not doing the bidding of the state. She was asked to step into this role and doing so in a volunteer capacity. So it's been positive thus far.
No, you said that they would come back supposedly in June or before June and work on things that hadn't been completed yet.
Yeah, as soon as the weather.
But they didn't fix the sidewalks, so that they're still draining into the.
And that's why I said.
It seems to me if they're going to do the work in there, first they would have fixed the outside so you wouldn't have the problems all over again, mm-hmm. Causing, all the repairs that have been made. To actually, I don't know if they'd be any good.
Yes, yes. There is a punch list that will have to be created, assessed, and made a determination to move forward. So yes, that's the acknowledgement from Connie, that there obviously work needs to be done. From a standpoint of her supervision, They have made a determination that the hours of operation are very limited. When there's been high, cold frost days, that they've limited the accessibility. They're still doing burials, they're still doing entombments and stuff.
Who is there on a daily basis? Like,
The main office is out of Ellenburg.
but if the hours of availability, somebody's here physically walking and unlocking doors, or?
They're in control of that. Yeah. And they've put different, I think you said that you were there recently, they've put some different signage and stuff up. Have you seen anything more recently?
No, I don't think there was recently. That
Okay.
was several weeks ago. The doors were locked. And
Yeah, there's one set of doors still
I
locked.
think that was because of the icing
Oh.
situation. So I guess just to back up,
Sure.
when you said the main office out of Ellenburg, they're still involved in this?
It's
somehow?
still the corporation. That's still incorporated. It's still a joint entity.
Yep.
And they're having issues in Ellenburg as well.
With the construction?
The
Yeah.
construction issues? You can't speculate, I realize, Michael, but is there an opportunity, does that receivership get extended possibly again, or?
Oh, I mean,
I mean-
I would anticipate that the receivership will go until the project is met.
But our people won't be inspecting it at that point. Now, when we take it over, is the state still the one that's supposed to be inspecting it? Now they say, that's yours. Now our codes have to be met.
No, it doesn't, there's.
But we're in charge of it, to repair it, to do all the other things. But our codes enforcement officers can't be the ones to look at it and say it doesn't meet code.
Yeah.
Who do we talk to besides Connie about this?
Dave Fleming, who's our counsel as far as that
Do we
goes.
have to pay him, or is the state paying?
We're paying him up front with back support, and that's how it's
From the
been.
state?
Yeah.
It just seems like there's so many unanswered questions.
Yeah.
Is anyone from the state actually involved in this? That
Uh,
would be, I think, what we would need.
And that's what's throwing me off. I guess I don't understand if
Maybe this,
if it's in the receivership of the state of New York, how is the drown, correct? For the mausoleum, you said their main office, how are they still involved in it if it's in receivership with the state?
So the receivership is basically because Connie is, for lack of better terms, the principal agent, the CEO, the manager, the supervisor, whatever. The staff members, and some people have left employment there under Connie's supervision. Some of their staff members have seen reduced hours, changes, etc.
Okay.
But Whispering Maples is still an entity, a corporation there. So Connie has the responsibility to get that organized. And there's kind of multiple components, and this is going to be one of the ones that, before this all occurred, this was my ongoing concern, was the paperwork portion of it. Every contract that was sold, every space that was sold, because there was a quote-unquote suspicious fire that occurred years ago, where some of the documents were, I mean, this goes back to 2015 is when the town began originally. So I, again, don't have a hard and fast date because I don't think the state of New York does, you know, but they've at least identified at the moment the problems. They're the ones investing the money into it. Yes, as taxpayers, you know, that money comes out of, you know, all of us, like, you know, many of the state's investments,
Yeah.
but they've taken a different approach to it. So.
seems like it might be a good time to get Betty Little and Billy Jones back involved.
They are actively involved in it as well.
Are they aware of these
Yes,
things?
I've shared photos with them, called Billy and Betty.
Because
And
they were able to pat themselves on the back for getting us funding for it, which
Mhm.
was good, but they used that, you know, as
Yeah.
a promotional thing, as politicians do, but with that comes the responsibility of continued
oh, they're
care and follow through.
Betty, when she has been up in the district, before the pre-construction, visited the site to look at it again. So I mean, they're not stepping away from this at all. So
Just seems like now is a pretty
Yeah.
critical.
Well, and I think that's my biggest fear, is when they decide that they're gonna,
Yeah.
regardless of what it is, it's our responsibility. And it just seems that we don't have a lot of recourse with that, nor do we have a lot of input or the opportunity to say, yeah, we agree to what we're receiving.
Yeah, because you talk about the inevitable, but I guess, you know, assurances of, these things concern me as
Yeah.
someone
Well,
who's
you-
serving on a town board. I just,
It's-
I mean, I go and look at these things, I don't just look at
Yep.
pictures, and
Yeah.
I respect Connie, and I realize she's
Oh,
doing.
yeah, and I don't
really
mean
do,
it as a
but-
ding on her at all, because
Um,
certainly I think, you know,
Ultimately, the responsibility rests with the state in terms of their oversight. And the committee that's supposed to be on that includes the Attorney General and the Governor and the Comptroller. And so if we have any leverage, it would have to be with them.
Yeah. I'm going to imagine that Jason and I will be taking another trip down to Albany again, like we did before.
Well, I'll probably see the Comptroller
So,
at some point, so.
yeah.
Yeah, and I know you won't take your eye off the ball, Michael,
yeah.
but we have to keep our eye
No,
on
I-
this ball and raise our concerns
Well,
or.
it's a
Absolutely.
hot button item right now.
You know,
I mean,
it's easy
you
to
know,
forget this
It's-
stuff.
We're hearing it
it's,
from a lot of different directions, so.
Connie has been put in contact with press as well, so, yeah. So, just wanted to keep it out in front.
But if you look at it, I mean, I'm, from the beginning, yes, there was all the holes and everything, now it's the same problem with water coming in and the freezing and the paint peeling and, you know, after it's been done. So it couldn't have been done that well. You've got to have outdoor, you know, there's no heat in there, so it's got to be made so it's going to handle the cold. Yeah, well,
So, anticipate more conversations to come, so just keep me updated, all right? Pretty late from here, draft minutes, and then to request the New York State Planning Federation Conference, sending people for continued ed,
It's good.
so.
so Melina is not going to that one?
Yeah, but looks like Matt's gonna try to make this one.
So, all right. That's what I have. Like I said, I will keep you updated on the other item.
Thanks.
I did want to bring up one thing, just to see when we're going to be, how this is progressing in terms of our request for raises and the moratorium we put on that.
Got delayed due to the snow, and she needs to get rescheduled.
Okay, so that's still supposed to happen sometime soon. Okay.
Yeah, and salary calibration does not necessarily mean that people will get raises. I think it's important to note that, because some individuals may be identified at a higher rate. There's salary compressions and various things. So what we're doing is we're doing a salary study for calibrations possibly.
Yeah, I just, you know, as long as we get that done before budget time.
She's coming here and she's gonna do just kind of like, what's her process, you know?
Part of the process is that she'll engage in conversations through like a survey type tool, and then she'll do sit-down interviews and have conversations. Then she'll do a kind of a analysis, a comparative analysis with some other municipalities and other types of businesses, etc. So,
Do you know what her timeline is?
no, not now, because we need to reschedule it because of.
I don't mean her timeline to come, I mean her timeline to get it done once she's done the work.
Well, she was going to be able to front load it earlier, and it was on. So no, I do not have that. So yeah, more to come. I have communicated that to all the department heads.
Okay. I'm sorry, I probably should have known.
No,
It was postponed, I didn't know.
No.
Oh, I didn't even-
Then, and the snow has been the issue for both of it, and you know, honestly.
They went out that door.
Oh.
Okay, thank you. It becomes one of those things where we're almost, hopefully, let's cross our fingers, out of the winter months.
Mm.
So,
Three more
What do you
weeks.
think that?
so, I'm crossing my fingers and keeping hope. Isn't Spring Lake supposed to be 2 weeks away at this point? So.
Cross your eyes.
21st, 3 more weeks, the 21st of March, you have 3 weeks.
3 weeks, okay, so we're getting close. Anything on deputy? No?
Not one application, not from the county or from
Okay.
putting in.
I'm getting ready to put out a news and notices, kind of our e-communication thing, so we can put a little ad in that as well, and hopefully that will produce some of it. Yep. Okay, so, anything else?
Nope.
All right,
Thank you, sir.
thank you.